Right, the reason why you clicked on this video is Warp Stabiliser. So I'm going to jump into it pretty quick. You notice the moving image on the screen here while I'm talking. It's a bit choppy. The reason being is the person doing the video work was using a tripod made for photography camera, not a video camera. So it's a bit not as smooth as it could be. So to add Warp Stabiliser, go to Effects and just type in Warp. And that'll give you Warp Stabiliser. You take that, you drag and drop it onto the video that you want it to process on. Automatically, as soon as it goes on there, it starts analyzing it and doing the work. So while we're waiting on the results there, let's jump into a few of our options. The first one is results, smooth motion or no motion. I want smooth motion because I actually want, there is camera movement here and I do want it to move smoothly. I just want it to even out. No motion is like the name says, where it's going to try to remove all motion. This would most likely be in situations where you've got a camera that's maybe set in a stable position and maybe the camera moved a little bit because of the wind or it's on a boat, I don't know. Next up, we've got smoothness. This is basically telling it how smooth do you want it to be. Do you want it to work hard and really smooth it out, or do you only want it to do just a little bit? With this, I don't want a lot, but I do want more than there is, so I might change that to 80. Next up is method. So this is going to be our position scale. So what these are is your position is it stabilizes it kind of based on where it is. Scale rotation is going to be where it uses the video position, but also will kind of scale it if there's not enough to track. I don't know, it's basically a bunch of techno babble. I'm going to leave mine for the purpose of this video. I'm going to leave it in subspace warp, which is the default one. This will kind of warp variations of the frame to stabilize the entire image. You notice what it did there as soon as it got doing its analyzing work, it readjusted, and that's because of the next area that we will get into, which is our framing. So this is kind of the important stuff in my opinion. So we've got multiple options here. We've got stabilize only. So what stabilize only is going to do is it's just going to stabilize the image, and what can happen there is if you see here, we've got this black border because it's trying to stabilize the video footage, which is then going to cause the footage to move around. And so it creates black boxes. So I don't really see too many reasons why you would want to use that. Stabilize and crop is that next step where it kind of crops it in and stabilizes it. And notice now what we've got is we've got a cropped black box around the edge. So not quite what I want. Next we've got stabilize, crop, and auto scale. Now what this one's going to do is it's going to automatically scale along with the footage. So you notice now we don't have those black boxes, but it did kind of zoom it in a little bit. So this is helpful if you think you might have to do this. Maybe shoot the video footage a bit wider than you normally would, so that way you've got space to crop into. And finally, we've got stabilize and synthesize edges. I don't really use this one. I don't think it necessarily works all that great, but others might disagree with me on this. And what stabilize and smooth edges, synthesize edges is, it's going to try to fill in those edges. So you can actually see right here a little edge that it's trying to fill in. It's trying to digitally build that information. So for me, I'm going to stick with stabilize, crop, and autofill. It's going to give me the image where I want it. I'm going to go a little higher on the smoother. Now it's showing choppy my playback as that's my video card having a hard time processing this. It's causing it to be a bit choppy. If I were to render it and replay it, it would play back a lot smoother than the original. So that's it. Real quick intro to Warp Stabiliser. It's a great little tool. It's just going to kind of vary the settings based upon your video footage. But if you want a starting point, this is mine. I use smooth motion, smoothness, anywhere from 50 to 80%. I use subspace warp, which is the default. And for framing, I switch it to stabilize, crop, and auto scale. As always, hope you found that useful and have a good day.